Good morning, my friends, and welcome to this special time. And welcome to Sunday as I remove my mask. This month we are moving through the basic ideas of science mind, religious science. Last week we talked about the thing itself, the universal mind that is everywhere at once. One thing that made everything out of itself. Therefore, everything we are is it in action. Our dear friends in India who practice Hinduism in Fremont, where they have a wonderful Hindu community, of course, and we use the word, or we have developed a use of the word namaste. The God in me greets the God in you. Whatever you do to the least of these, you do unto me. What if the oneness and the application of oneness that Jesus taught is good enough to be true? But what if we took that experience that he had and move it into now? Listen to what Dr. Holmes says. Going back to one thing. One of the statements I love in the Bible is, when you see him, you must know you are like him, or you will not see him as he is. Now, the great, the good, the wise, as Dr. Holmes said, it's not enough that they knew what they knew. It's not enough that I know that they knew it. What I need to know is what I myself can know. So listen to these words. This is page 35 of the Science Mind textbook. Second chapter, the way it works. Now, it is one thing, it's everything you are. Now, let's see let's understand the way it works. Dr. Holmes' understanding of the way it works was to explore the greatest minds he could discover throughout the age. So he said these words, the way it works. Again, page 35 of the textbook, the Science Mind textbook. Dr. Holmes says, the science of mind is not a special revelation of any individual. It is rather a culmination of all revelations. We take good wherever we can find it, making it our own as far as we understand it. The realization that good is universal, and that as such, we understand that as much good as any individual is able to incorporate in their life, it is theirs to use. It is what constitutes the science of mind and spirit. The science of mind. Us. And that man's intelligence is this universal mind functioning at the level of man's concept of it. This is the essence of the whole teaching. Now, what we understand is every religion proves to the people practicing it the belief system they have centered in the culture they develop by way of that belief system. So whatever anyone feels that God is, that's the way the universe will act through them, and they will prove their concept to themselves. But what if we know the truth, and the truth sets us free? Dr. Holmes said, "I daily thank God that the God most people believe in isn't." But our challenge is again to go back. Let's go to E. Cummings for a minute. Cummings said, "One is not half of two. Two are halves of one." Two are halves of one. So, nothing good or bad, but thinking doesn't make it so. Wherever your mind goes, your world follows. Why? Because that's the consciousness you live in. Stop expecting whatever you don't want anymore and free yourself into seeing your body, your mind, your world in such a way that you begin to realize that you can, if you so choose, see your world from God. My friend Bill Little, Dr. Bill Little down in Monterey, used to point out to us that we need to stop being second cause connoisseurs. I loved it. If you're ever down in the Monterey area, be sure and go by and see and hear one of the best teachers we've ever experienced, and that's Dr. Bill Little down in Monterey. Excuse me, I'm going to have something to drink here. Let's explore something for a minute. And what I want to explore with you is what Dr. Holmes says on page 37 of the thing itself. It's an important part of this whole book. If you understand this and see from your understanding, and this is on page 37 of the textbook. He, again, is going back to the thing, but again, we want to understand the way it works. He says on page 37, the thing then works for us by working through us, and is always. It cannot work for us in any other way. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts at us from every angle. But it can become power only to us, only when we recognize it as power. A power that's unlimited and made me out of itself. And made you out of yourself, out of itself. Now, Dr. Holmes continues on page 37. We are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe that can free us. Now, that's an interesting concept. Is it new? No. And the highest, clearest thinkers, the higher they go, the more they recognize and taught the same thing. They just did it through the language of their culture and their understanding of how to communicate it at that time. That was then, this is now. Now, listen to these words. This was said a few years ago. It's in the Bible. It is Romans 13:8 through 10. And it says, listen to it very clearly as I adjust my glasses. Owe to no man anything, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. Isn't that great? Love is the fulfilling of the law. It's been said, if we look at the wonderful thing that we teach in New Thought, whether it's unity, divine science, religious science, CSL, Anton, Emerson Institute. It's been said that in New Thought, we really only have two things to teach. Two simple things to teach. In the science mind, the two things that we teach, and again in New Thought, same thing. We teach there is a presence which is divine. We teach that it is everywhere equally present in everyone. Namaste. In everything. Namaste, everything. So we realize that it is everywhere at once, and it is available to us, and it is... Oh, I'm about to give you a third one. No. The availability is a subservient availability. There's a principle that's subservient to what? To the presence. What does it do? It carries out its will. Now, what are we talking about? Principle is ever subservient to the presence. So when we let go and let ourselves contemplate the truth of ourselves, we begin to realize very clearly that this power is as impersonal as the presence is personal. That's good. So the power, which doesn't care how you use it, choose you this day the blessing or the curse. Again, that's not two powers, that's just that's two ways to use one power. You need to wake up to this. It's probably a major step in growth when you stop thinking that something outside of you or up in the sky has plans for you. The universe has no plans for you other than when you affirm and make up your mind or demand to know, it comes forth as the intelligence that has always been within you. So why not let go? And as we go through these first basic ideas of science of mind, why not let go? Why not let go and give this a chance and begin to think from a new understanding of yourself, and let that understanding work through your intelligence to discover more of it and apply it. This power is, again, as impersonal as the presence is personal. Choose you this day. Now, this law, see, everything has a law. If you begin to understand that every action has an equal and object, every action has an equal and object reaction in the physical, But we understand it also is true of the metaphysical. The law is totally within everything, everywhere. It's totally without emotion. It just says yes. That's why you need to pay attention to your own belief system, because the power within you will say yes to it. Who was it? P.D. Ouspensky in 1900 had a breakthrough, and his breakthrough came forth from him when he shouted out, "I am cause to everything that happens in my life. I am cause." Dr. Robert Bitzer used to point out that never say the name of the Lord thy God in vain, which means never say I am and put something negative after it. Thank you, Dr. Bitzer. Now, consciously or unconsciously, understanding of the impersonal principle of law, which has to be the same for everybody. You see, that's what it means. Nobody has more power. You can do it if you make up your mind. There's too many people who have let go and let themselves honor, be not conformed to the world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What a great idea. What a great idea. So, again, this principle of law, saying yes to your consciousness, again, it has to be the same for everyone. That's, I think, the new thought greatness, is we really wake people up to stop, When I first started my work here in Fremont, I had a Protestant minister call. It was right after we bought our church. He introduced himself over the phone, and we talked for a little bit, and he said, "By the way, Dr. Neal," he said, "how large is your flock?" And I told him I didn't have a flock, that I was teaching people how to be shepherds, not sheep. So, anyhow. But this power within us, which road do you want to go? We've been going through some interesting times recently. And we bless the positive right action of the truth of our wonderful country. And know that whatever intelligence and leadership needs to come forward to heal the anger, the confusion, the doubt, the fear, the unfortunate behavior, that is over, complete, and we move forward healing our country. So, every day we should have a flag at half-mast, honoring all the people that are moving through the unfortunate effect of the virus. But our challenge is to move forward and know there's an answer. Wherever your mind goes, your world follows. I remember very clearly growing up at the time that I grew up that we had a similar experience with polio. The children couldn't play. The only problem is we didn't have the only thing we had was radio. But we demonstrated the polio experience that eliminated it from our life and our world. We stood in line for it. I think I had, the wonderful serum that we had to take out polio. I think I had it 5 times some way. But the challenge was to find the answer, and we did. The challenge was to understand that you were very fortunate not to wind up in an iron lung back then, and the same thing now. Let's know that everything that is needed, celebrating what Dr. King visioned and shared with us. And if we hold on to that vision, we think from that vision, that we begin to judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. My book, The Power of Positive Purpose, a Hindu priest read it and told me it was Hinduism. My friend who's a Thai Buddhist priest read my book, told me it was Buddhism. What I did in my book, The Power of Positive Purpose, which if you go on our website, you can order. In my book, while I'm pointing it out, is that, as Dr. Holmes pointed out to us, if we can set a goal and then ask ourselves, what is my purpose for achieving this goal? Then he said, become one with the purpose. In other words, act as if it is, and it shall be. We're in the now forever. See? So again, we wake up and we recognize the personal reality, the personal nature of God in and through us. To go within and recognize our first step of treatment, there's one life, it's God. Second step, that life is my life. If that's true, how does that idea think? How does that reality think? Not the problem, not the doubt, not the fear. So again, you recognize that if you understand the law and the way it works, then you'll be able to not only understand it in and as your great experience in freedom, you'll be able to set yourself free in a beautiful way. So know it's good enough to be true. There's a law ready to back up your highest ideal. So dream your dream and understand that all your dreams are waiting for you to come true. Do it now. That's the way it works. And so it is. Thank you, dear, dear people, for tuning out to this morning. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the opportunity to give this lesson. And I celebrate you hearing it. Now do something good with it. And while you're doing something good with it, think about us in relationship to donation to the Tri-City Religious Science Center and grandchildren. I know right now are missing her as I am. Been with me a long time. A lot of that time she thought she was my mother, and I appreciated it. So, Roberta, I know loving hands are meeting you now in your new experience as they met you here when you arrived. As you move forward in the now and forever, great good unfolds. So it is. And now, my friends, let's go within. As I speak my word in first person, allow yourself to affirm with me in your own first person way. I know there's one life, it's God, and that is the thing itself. I know the way it works is by way of law, that my conscious acceptance moves through law and becomes event, becomes experience, becomes body, mind, world. So I speak my word for greater increase of understanding in my own life, in my own event, of the wonderful way in which the law of good implements the ideas of good, which I set in motion through my conscious thinking and meditation, contemplation, spiritual mind treatment. I now in silence fix my inner gaze upon the light, the love, and the perfectly successful law of God. And I affirm that they are operating in my life today. This is true of me, of everyone listening to this treatment. Our heart joins together and affirms our oneness as we move forward into greater good. We know this is true of our country, our new president, vice president, cabinet, the decisions that need to be made to heal whatever needs to heal and find answers to this virus above and beyond anything we've known. Thank you, God, it's good enough to be true. We thank in such a way that our happiness greets the world, that our joy embraces everyone in our life, home, work, play. So we let it be. So it is, was, and shall be. In the now of forever. Let it be your way. So it is.